Alright guys, we're back in my garage for another video. If you're new to the channel, I use these videos to help keep you updated on the latest developments related to our cars, as well as discuss technical topics so that we have a better understanding of how our engines work. So if you're interested in videos like that, be sure to subscribe to the channel. There will be a lot more coming out in the future. So today we're going to be talking about a new option that's coming from Pure Drivetrain Solutions. And if you guys follow their social media, you probably saw on Instagram that they made a post talking about a new trans brake option that would be coming for their built transmissions. Now, Pure Drivetrain Solutions has pretty much established themselves as the main big provider for built transmissions. They work really well, hold a lot of torque, but they're slowly beginning to add additional options to the transmission to help add additional performance where a lot of people use it. So in this video, we'll talk about what a trans brake is, what the pros and cons are, and hopefully that can help you decide if it's an option that you want to jump on. So a trans brake is actually a little bit unique. This really primarily helps people that are drag racing their cars. The way that your transmission works is it sends fluid to different parts of your transmission to help you shift gears and basically change how it's operating. With a trans brake, you're going to add an additional solenoid onto the transmission. And what this will do is send fluid to both your first gear or your drive gear, as well as your rear gear. And that'll basically lock the transmission in place since both gears are engaged at the same time. Now this works really well because once it's engaged, you can floor the pedal. It'll raise the RPMs up and can even help build up boost. And then when you release the trans brake, it'll send all that power immediately to the wheels so that you can launch your car forward. So obviously this is a really big advantage for people that drag race their cars. Using a trans brake will help make your launches much better as well as much more consistent. I know most people typically put their foot on the brake as well as the gas to kind of simulate how a trans brake works. But this time everything will happen inside of the transmission, so you won't have to worry about trying to get your pedal right. You won't have to worry about your real wheels spinning if you get your RPMs too high. Basically, this will make everything much more consistent. This is also something that's incorporated with when you see cars kind of bumping up to a line. So if you have a really big turbo that needs a little bit of time to spool, but you're racing in a really competitive environment, this can give you a chance to build a little bit of boost on the trans brake. And then with additional options, you can actually use it to inch your car forward and then launch it once the light turns green. Keep in mind the trans brake isn't the only thing that makes that possible, but it is a part of the system. However, obviously there are a lot of downsides. If you can't tell by how that sounds, it is extremely stressful on the car. You're taking basically all of that power that's being held by your brakes and transferring it to the internals of your transmission. So if you use it very often, it's not very uncommon to have to pull your transmission and get it rebuilt more frequently. It also puts a lot more stress on your drivetrain component. So if you're worried about your axles, your drive shaft, your differential, or anything else in the system, it's going to send a lot more torque and a much bigger shock to those components when you launch your car. So you definitely want to have all of your upgrades in place before using this on a track. Now the good news is that Pure said when this is offered to the public, they'll make it an option on new builds, but they'll also be able to retrofit it for existing customers. However, it does require actually modifying the physical transmission. So in most cases, you're going to have to pull your trans and send it to them in order for it to be modified and installed. Now, one other thing I do want to mention, since I got a few questions about this, is that a trans brake is different from a stall. When you're talking about a stall with your converter, it basically dictates the RPM that your converter can rev up to without actually moving the car forward. So when you put your foot on the brake and put your foot on the gas without anything moving, it's going to hit a certain RPM and stop. That's basically your stall. Every converter has one, but some people like to upgrade to an aftermarket converter with a higher stall so that if you have a bigger turbo or you just need your RPMs higher for a better launch, an aftermarket stall converter can help get you there. So in this case, it's not going to change the RPM that your car can launch at. It'll just make sure that you can more consistently hit that RPM and build as much boost as possible without the car moving or spinning the wheels. So hopefully that helps answer the questions that you guys have about this. I definitely think it'll be cool to see it on some of, the people that are really drag racing their cars. But for most people, it won't really be something that I would recommend. It's not really useful on the street, and it's not going to help it hold any more power or hold any more torque. It's just to help get your launches better. And unless you have a really good tire on a prepped surface, it's kind of going to be hard to take advantage of it. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.